And hello, everyone. Good morning. It is Saturday morning, October 19th, and it is once again time to find the best setups for the week ahead. My name is Daniel, and I will be your moderator today, and I will give you my take of what are some promising setups during the weekend. Most importantly, I will share with you how I find these setups in just a couple of minutes. It's actually super simple using our dashboard, and this is exactly what we are going today. If you are joining us perhaps for the first time, let me quickly introduce ourselves. So we are tradingindicators.com. So my name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side, and I have built this business together with Homa. In the middle here, about 10 years ago. And over the years, we have created hundreds, almost thousands of trading indicators for clients all over the world. We've also built fully automated strategies. We've built trading scanners, trading dashboards. And most of the recent tools that we've built actually were built by Niklas. Niklas joined our team around 5 or 6 years ago. He went to the same university as I, and he has been instrumental behind many of our latest innovations, and he will be looking after your questions today. So if you guys have any questions, please don't be shy. The more, the merrier. Put them into the Q&A box of your Zoom window, and Niklas will look after them and point some of these questions out as we go along. All right, and once again, most of what we do here at Trading Indicators is based on technical analysis, and this is exactly what we are going to focus on today. I believe fundamental data, especially with today's markets, is almost immediately priced in. And by doing a technical analysis of your price chart, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. And I believe technical analysis is so much easier than fundamental analysis. It doesn't take a PhD in finance, as you will see. And actually, it's using the right tools, it can become quite straightforward. And this brings me to the second point. Trading should be simple, and trading is simple, but you need to know what to look for. And today, I'm going to share with you what I am looking for when it comes to identifying interesting trade setups. And before we get started, a quick reminder, of course, that trading does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital. When it comes to backtest performance or anything based on historical data, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade setups and ideas discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, here's what we have planned today. So we will use our dashboard, the Liquidity View dashboard, to scan in a very interactive manner for high reward, low risk setups. And as mentioned at the very beginning, and you probably have seen the intro slide, if you can, please follow along. You can do this completely free. We offer a 1-week free trial for our dashboard, and you get instant access if you do. And here's the link, Niklas. Please put it into the chat box, tradingindicators.com/view. If you sign up for this 1-week free trial, you will get your access probably like 30 seconds later. So this is super fast, and you can interactively follow along. So because we offer this 1-week free trial for any of our plans, the monthly and the yearly plan. And of course, you can cancel at any time. If you cancel in the trial period, there will be no charge. And even with the subscription plans, there's no contract. You can cancel at any time. All right, but enough about this. Let's talk about what we are looking for today. And I mentioned it before, high reward and low risk setups. I'm going to start with this because that's, what will drive most of our scanning today. But we're going to add on to that by also looking for extra confirmation. And how this looks like, let me just do a bit of theory right up front, and then we're going to move over to the dashboard. So a high reward and low risk setup is a setup where the profit potential outweighs the risk. And oftentimes it's outweighed by a multiple, like factor of 2 or 3 or even more. This typically, in most cases, requires a tight stop loss. And a bit of caution here. It may require several tries to actually reach your profit potential or to have a winner. This is normal. This is a part of the game when trading these high reward and low risk setups because the stop loss is tight and you may get stopped out and you may have to try again. It's part of the game and perhaps not suited for every trading personality. Some traders, they like to keep it more wide open and then hopefully have more winners over losers overall, but avoid the stop loss. So if you have a loser, it will cost you more money. In this case, it's the opposite. We're going to set our stop loss very tight and have very little risk on the table, but we're looking for the home run to really, have a big winner with this tight stop loss. All right, so one of these setups is called the bounce setups. There's two other ones here, but let's talk about the bounce setup real quick because I'm going to refer back to what we did last week in our scanning session. So the bounce setup looks a little bit as the following here. So price is approaching, for example, a support level. You can see it here. And support acting as support, it may prevent price from moving further down. And if prices gets right into the support zone, one bet in quotes could be to enter long and place your stop loss just below this support zone. Let me quickly switch over to our dashboard because I need to show you something. So last week when we did the scanning session on Saturday, we also looked for bounce setups and we actually created a watch list. As we went ahead and we created this watch list here, the long bounce ideas watch list, and we found that COR, Sensora Inc. was a potential candidate for a bounce. And I just need to show it to you because this is exactly what this bounce setup is all about. Look what happened here. So this was last Saturday. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. We were exactly here at this support zone, and look what happened. A beautiful bounce towards the upside. Hopefully, some of you perhaps have taken this trade. It worked out beautifully, and this is exactly what this setup is all about. You're placing your stop loss just below the support level and hope that price will bounce off support and go to the upside. So this would have been a beautiful, beautiful trade. So exactly what this bounce setup looks for. It doesn't always work out like this, but it worked out beautifully last weekend. So I was very happy to see this and maybe put it into the Q&A if someone of you took this trade. If you did, please put me a note. I'm sure you would have been very happy by now if you had taken this trade. Okay, so this was bounce, but we have two other setups, and I'm going to go over these real quick. The second setup is the zone break setup. So nothing lasts forever. No support zone will last forever. No resistance zone will last forever. Eventually, it will be broken. But this also offers an opportunity to us. Because if the zone is broken, oftentimes we see a big follow through. So here, for example, we have a break of the support level. As you can see here, a nice follow through to the downside. Or vice versa, if resistance is broken to the upside, we may also see a nice follow through to the upside just the same way. Okay, so this is our zone break setup. And once again, we would place our stop loss just above the support zone or just below the resistance zone in this case. And we had one more setup, which is my favorite one, because I like bounce too, and it would have been perfect last week. But this one also is one of my favorite ones. It's called the zone break retrace setup. It's the classic fake out scenario where first we do have a nice zone break, an initial follow through. You can see here, resistance is broken, a nice follow through, but then the follow through takes a break. It retraces back, and where does it retrace to? It retraces back to the broken resistance zone, which is now acting as support. A great opportunity for you to re-enter at this level, placing your stop loss once again just below this level here before price takes off once again in the breakout direction. So one of my favorite setups, the zone break retrace. All right, so these are the three setups we're going to scan for today. But there's one more thing what we want to do. And I'm going to come back to this one in a second, this new feature which we introduced since last week to our dashboard. We also want to look for confirmation. So confirmation in our case means we want other indicators, other readings to confirm the anticipated trend direction. So for example, if you're looking for a bounce off support, which is a bullish move, it would be nice if the overarching trend, for example, would be also bullish. And this is exactly what we are going to do today. We are looking for setups which are in line with the overarching trend. Because, when something is trending, it is more likely to continue trending rather than reversing. And this is exactly what we want. And this is what we're going to scan for. So we want to have the overarching trend move to be in line with the anticipated trade direction of our setup. All right. So with this, and without further ado, let's move over to our dashboard. All right. So, and once again, it is not too late to follow along if you're joining us a bit late. Sign up for a free trial right now, and you can access your dashboard as I am demoing it in this webinar. So here's the link once again, tradingindicators.com/view, and you will get instant access. All right, so let me now go to our dashboard, and what we're going to do first, this is once again our beautiful bounce trade here. We're going to start from scratch. So let me move this a little bit down here. And starting from scratch here means that I will start with our end of day scanner. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to configure this scanner so it has all the columns, all the scan columns that I want in this case. Okay, so you can see here the end of day scanner is loaded, and we're scanning around through around 5,000 symbols. And the first thing I want to do is I want to configure it. So you can configure every single column in the scanner. You can add additional columns to it. For example, maybe the asset class, mostly we scan through stocks. You can also add stuff like the earnings date, whether there was a gap, what was the daily move since yesterday, the market cap of the company, and stuff like this. Not everything is relevant for what we are trying to do today. There are other setups you can scan for. So we're gonna, keep it clean. So I would like to see asset class, not so important. The name I like to see, the date, the price, of course. The volume, we're gonna put some volume filters on today. We're gonna keep it. The 1-day move, not so much. We can see this on the price chart as well. Earnings date, we're gonna keep it on. Just, it's always good to see if earnings are coming up, which may increase unnecessarily risk because things may be a bit erratic when earnings come up. Market cap, I'm gonna skip it for today. Of course, we're gonna keep our liquidity IQ setup, which we can use for scanning for our bounce and zone break setups and so forth. We're gonna keep MA rush on, which is the overarching trend direction, and the other one, R score, we're gonna keep on as well. Perfect. So this is my setup, and by default, everything is sorted alphabetically by the symbol. So A, C, G, and so forth. And we're scanning through 5,000 symbols. Way too many to, to go through these ones one by one to see if they have promising setups. So the first thing what we're going to do is we are going to use our liquidity IQ column here. And I'm going to use, click on the filter icon here, and we're going to scan for certain setups. And let's just start, just because it worked out so nicely last week, let's start with our long bounce setup. So once I click on here, it will only show me stocks which are currently in a long bounce situation. And if you scroll down here, we can see that we are now down to 527 stocks. Cool. That's pretty awesome. And if you are a keen observer, you may notice one difference between last week's version of the dashboard. So you can see here next to the setup, and this has been added for every setup that we can scan for, you see a little number like 3 or 14 or 2 or 1. What I was about to say is that this number next to the setup, it indicates for how many trading days this stock has been in this long bounce setup. So for example, this one here, ACB, you can see it here has been in a long bounce scenario for 14 days. Look how long this level has been contested. And now we actually can see it directly here. So this, I think, is a very useful feature. And in fact, when we had our webinar last week, I stumbled about this idea because we were scanning for setups, and for some setups, like the zone break setups, we notice, oh man, this stock has been a zone break scenario for like 50 days already. This setup has passed. It's too late now to the game. Wouldn't it be nice to see which setups are, in quotes, fresh and which setups are new? And this is exactly what you can see now with this number right here. And for example, if we go to this one here, Arcadia Healthcare, we can see that it recently, for the last bar, went to a bounce state. You can see it here. It just went down here to this support zone because it's one bar ago. It's on the recent bar. Or this one here. Once again, it just went close enough to the support zone to be in a bounce setup state. This is exactly how you can use this number form. All right, so this is how we can filter for stocks in a long bounce scenario. But what we also want to do is we want to find confirmation. And we want to see a long bounce setup where the overarching trend is bullish. So what I will add now is I'm going to go to my MA Rush column here, and I will use the bullish filter. And once done, only bullish stocks are shown. Now we're down to 87 different hits. Perfect. And what I like to do as well is to then sort by the ones which have been bullish the longest. So now we can see here, for example, that this first stock here, it's a German stock. That's just an example, has been in a long bounce state for 8 bars, but it has been bullish for 998 trading days. Wow. So we see a deep retracement here of this stock. But if I zoom out a little bit, we can see that this stock, at least as far as MA Rush is concerned, has been bullish for a very long time. Since down here. So since, what's the date here? Since, oops, let me just move up a little bit here. Since, what is it? November 2022, this stock has been bullish. It made a nice double top here. And now another deep retracement to this very powerful support level. And, this could be extra conviction that, hey, this stock may once again bounce off this level. Even though I should tell you, this is not my favorite one because it's a bit too volatile. Look at all these big swings here. We may as well see a bounce, but it is not as clean cut as some other ones. We'll see. So I'm going to, we can look at this one, but I'm going to move over to the next one. Perhaps we can see some better ones. Okay. So the next one is this one here. Which one is this? UFP Technology Inc. Another kind of a, bizarre stock, but let's look at the chart here. Bullish since 966 days. And let me quickly just make this a little bit cleaner by disabling some of the labels here, which we don't need. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay. So this is cleaner. And we can see, wow, a nice parabolic move up. We had a couple of retracements in between. And so this is happening right now as well. So we made the highest high here, then retraced back to this support level. And now once again, we are trading near support. So to me, this is a nicer candidate for a long entry because it's much smoother. So the uptrend is less erratic. We can see it here. A nice retracement to this level here. And this could afford us a very interesting long entry opportunity. So I'm going to add this stock to our watch list of today. All right. So how can we create watch list in this dashboard? Real quick. So let me just make this a little bit smaller and move this out of the way. There we go. And so a watch list can be created just very easily here. And I think we already have one long bounce watch list here, which currently only has our symbol from last week in there. Actually, let me just quickly go back to this one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add UFP to this watch list. So to our long bounce ideas. Done. Perfect. So let's edit now. And since we've done it, let me just quickly go to this watch list now here to show you that indeed this stock, where is it? Is in this watch list. I hope so. Lots of technical difficulties here this morning. Let me just quickly go back. It should at least be in there. Let me just quickly do my scan again. Long bounce and bullish setups and UFP. Add symbols to long bounce ideas. Yeah, and I believe there might be another. This is probably due to the fact that I was disconnected. The watch list is not working, but it will work in your version of the dashboard if you have a more stable internet connection. So
Daniel,
perhaps yes,
if you mind, we have a question from Sharon here.
yes,
She's just saying she's having trouble getting these drawdowns with the filters or options for the different columns, I believe.
yeah,
Um,
okay,
and she says that her column they just sort up or down. So could you just slowly show how to get these drop downs for different
yes,
options?
absolutely. So
Thank you.
yeah, exactly. So here, do you see this little yellow button here? This is the button which you can use to enable or disable these filters. So here, for example, if I click on it, filters are this, and I think I just need to. The problem is I was disconnected, so let me just reload my dashboard real quick. And I think this was causing my issue here because I lost internet connection. So let me go back to the scanner here. And yeah, so if you click on this filter icon here, this green one here, you can disable or enable the column filters. This is a little filter icon right next to the name. So if you click on it once, the filters will be gone. Don't see it here. You can only sort by those values. But once you enable the filter icon here, you should see this little filter icon next to the column name. And then you can filter by these setups right here. So long bounce, for example, here. And you can also filter for only bullish stocks and then sort by them. So this is how you can use the filters. I hope
Thank
this
you, Daniel.
clarifies it.
I think that helped, Sharon.
Perfect. Thanks, Niklas. Okay. So once again, we now this is an interesting story. Let's just keep yeah, I'm just trying to edit one more time. There we go. Okay, so this was caused by my bad internet, and now with any luck, we should now see there we go, this stock in our watch list. And what I'm gonna do also, I'm gonna quickly remove this filter here and remove Sensora Inc. because this one is no longer in a bounce state. And now our first interesting idea for the next week is UFPT in a long bounce state. All right, perfect. So going back to my scanner, so long bounce and oops, bullish. Sorry, bullish signals. There we go. Okay, let's go to the next one. CRAK, another stock of very low volume, and yeah, this stock once again is definitely at the support level, but to me, I mean, this has been probably trending up for a long time, but once again, too erratic for my taste, even though, we had some nice bounces off this level here. But actually, what I'm looking for is for stocks which are a bit more, established. So actually, what we're going to do now, we're going to apply also a volume filter to our scan results here. So let's only scan for stocks with volume over 1 million shares traded on average. And we can see now we're down to only 23 stocks. So let's go to the next one here. Marathon Petroleum. All right. So this one, oh yeah, look at this one, is an interesting one. A very bullish stock overall. We made all-time highs back in, when was that? In April this year. But now quite a bit of a retracement back to this contested support zone here. So we've had these big pullbacks a few times within that upwards move here, but this for sure is the biggest retracement since, since this is so big, I would also be a bit careful about this stock. Maybe a bit of a, you know, too much of a retracement, even though this is a very well-established support zone. But, I'm going to hold on with this one just a bit longer. Frontline LTD. What do we have here? Bullish since 662 days. And yeah, let me just look at the overall graph here. Very bullish. You can see it here. Nice. And recently a pullback to this support level. So to me, this is even though it's a big pullback from this all-time high here all the way down to 20, this to me is more interesting. Because it's similar to this pullback here. A couple of bounces here, and now we may see another nice bounce off this level. So I'm going to add this stock to my list of symbols for the long bounces of the next week. And one last time, Urban Outfitters. Let's see what's going on here. So once again, we are just coming off the all-time highs, I believe. This stock has been bullish for 409 days. Yeah, but this is not the cleanest setup. You know why? Look at what happened before here. So we actually went all the way down. We broke through support. The breakout failed, but now we're just trending above this support level, but there's another support level down here. I'm not too convinced that this one will held up. We may even see a move further down to this level before the overarching bullish trend move continues. So I'm going to skip this one for now as well. And that's the beauty about the scanner. It is that, you will always find setups and can you really focus on the ones which are of the highest quality. Okay, perfect. So this was long bounce, and let's move on. And last week we did look for short setups as well, but for today I'm going to focus only on long setups because, at least in my mind, stocks specifically, they do have an upside bias. And this is just one extra confirmation that I'd like to have in my pocket to use to my advantage. So stocks on average go up over time. As a result, a long stock trade has better chances to succeed than a short stock trade. It's just those statistics. So we're going to focus, therefore, only on long trades today when it comes to stocks. Okay, so this was our bounce setup. Nice. So I'm going to move on to our next setup. The next setup will be our zone break setup. All right, and we're going to see now how handy this number, the duration number next to the setup, will become very soon. So once again, we're going to start with a clean slate. So I'm removing all my filters, and I'm going to go over to my Liquidity IQ setup column and go to my long break setup. All right, so done. And let's see how many we found. 500 stocks are currently in a long break scenario. And, you can see those stocks which have been in a breakout situation for a very long time. For example, this one here. For 117 days, this stock has been trading above its resistance level. The last one that was broken. So here we had the break of resistance. It's been trading upwards ever since. So this is a very, very bullish stock. And the cool thing is, simply by sorting by this duration here, if you go from highest to lowest, you find stocks which are extremely bullish. Look at this one here. It's a beautiful stock. Very, very bullish. I'm always hesitant to buy into these ones. To me, it seems like chasing the trend, but look at this parabolic move of that stock. So you can find these ones very easily. And, if you see a bit of a deeper pullback in this one, maybe a pullback of this gratitude here down to this upper line of MA Rush, our trend indicator, this could be an interesting idea to re-enter long into this trade, even though it has broken over resistance 242 days ago and hasn't looked back since. Wow. But today we're going to do the opposite. So I'm going to focus on the stocks which have been so bullish for a long time. We're going to focus on stocks which just had the breakout. Look at this one here, Rave Restaurant Group. No idea what the stock does, but you can see here we just recently broke above resistance. This happened recently. Or this one here, Eaton Corporation. Same thing. We recently broke above this resistance level. We made all-time highs. So these are the stocks we want to focus on today. And now, since we have this number here, we actually can see how long ago this breakout has occurred. So this is it's a convenience feature. We just added this feature since last week. So last week we contemplate, wouldn't it be nice to know how long a setup has been in place so far? Well, now we have it. All right. So what we're going to do also, we're going to, of course, put again on our bullish MA Rush filter here. But for long break setups, they are typically bullish. Why? Because we just broke above resistance. And it's not just any resistance. This long break is only flagged if we broke above resistance and there is no other resistance level nearby. This is the definition of a long break. So basically we have clear skies ahead or blue skies ahead. Okay. So we have our bullish filter on here, and let's also put on our volume filter. We only want to find stocks which, have more than 1 million shares traded. All right, so now we're down to 199. Very nice. And of course, we're going to focus on the ones which recently had this breakout. So if you look down here, there's only a handful of them with a number 1 or 2 next to it. Let me just go to the next page. And a couple of them with number 3 and so forth. So it really narrows down uh, the number of stocks which recently had a zone break. All right. So Eaton Corporation indeed is an interesting one, especially since we just broke above this resistance level. It was established by this previous highest high here, a deep retracement of it. But then trend has picked up again. And yeah, an interesting one indeed. Yeah, I'm a bit hesitant to enter long here. Let me explain you why. So this all-time high, it happened, but then we went back down a little bit yesterday when Friday closed, and we did have a liquidity capture event here. So liquidity captures happen if we are nearby an important level, like this resistance zone here, and volume spikes up. And this oftentimes can be an indication that, hey, this level is contemplated, it's contested. And sometimes this leads to a reversal from this point on. So to me, this is still too fresh. We're not too far away from this recent high from which we bounced off from. So I'm going to stay away from this one. There will be better examples of a zone break coming up. And once again, the beauty about this dashboard is that we can focus on the setups which have the highest quality. So let's move to the next one. Trip.com. All right. Ooh, interesting one. Trip.com has been bullish for 470 days. Nice. We recently broke above this resistance here. You can see it here. We made higher highs and then retraced down to this resistance level. This actually was a zone break retrace setup just recently, and then price took off from there. Oh, that's an interesting one. So to me, I mean, it would have been perfect down here as a zone break retrace setup. So had I run the scan on Friday, we would have seen this level here, which would have been a beautiful entry opportunity the next day. But still interesting. So I'm going to add this one to our watch list as something to look out for next week as a long break, because we just had the retracement and now it looks like price may continue its bullish move upwards.
Daniel,
Yes.
we have a question from Jen. She wants to know what exactly is the best setup or what's your favorite? And then mentioned that it's kind of confusing, I guess, if you're a beginner like she is with this indicator and dashboard to tell exactly what setup we're looking at. So I was thinking maybe you can explain quickly how someone at a glance, when they see the resistance and support, can figure out what kind of setup we're in.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. So let me just zoom out a little bit here. So what you see on the chart, and maybe let's not worry about the scanner for now. You typically see 2 levels annotated on your price chart. So you can see it here. So we have this level down here annotated with a little label called support zone and the dimension of this zone. This is important. And you have another label here, this bluish or greenish label here called resistance zone, and also the dimension of this. So these levels are what drives most of our technical analysis. And if you take into account where price is in relation to these levels, you will find your setup. So for example, here we can see price is above this resistance level. You can see this is where price ended up. It's above this level. So this is a zone break setup. We just broke above resistance. It's a resistance zone break setup. So we broke above resistance and there's no other level above it. See, this here we have blue skies ahead. This is our classic zone break setup. Okay. The same may occur here if we break below support. If this is the case, this would also be a zone break setup, but in this case, to the downside. We may see more downside movement subsequently. Okay, so to recap, what's important for most of what we do is we have to know where these levels are. Where's my nearby resistance zone? Where's my nearby support zone? And where is price in relation to these levels? Price is outside, it's a break setup oftentimes. So outside here or outside there. If it's nearby, but in the inside, it's a bounce setup because you may bounce towards the middle or bounce from here towards the middle. And then we have one more setup that we're going to consider today is where we had a breakout, price returned back to the level, which is our retracement, and then takes off. This is our zone break retrace setup. But for this, also price needs to be outside these zones. So I hope this clarifies it a bit. Okay. And one more thing that we add to the mix is what is our trend indicator doing? So our trend indicator is this one here, which has these, these shadings on the chart. If you go back, scroll back a little bit, you will see that at some point, this indicator will give you either a bearish reading or a bullish reading. And whatever reading was last, so in this case, bull was last, this is your current trend direction. So here, very easy to see our current trend direction is bullish. We're in an uptrend. And of course, you could have probably also seen this just by looking at this this price move here. But what's important is that you can actually scan for those ones. So for example, here what we done here in our MA Rush column, we scanned to only find stocks which are currently bullish. So this is where the scanner comes in, because you can eliminate a whole bunch of stocks if you're only looking for bullish ones. So we can filter out all the bearish ones, for example. I hope this clarifies it a bit. Okay, so this one, let me just switch on one more time. Our levels here, I like it. I think the trend move is very, very smooth overall. We just made all-time highs. We are now trading above this resistance level. So this could be an interesting trade to the long side. Your stop loss would just be below this resistance level here, which hopefully will act as support. So very nearby, and perhaps 142, 143. And the expectation is that we see upside momentum and price is accelerating to the upside since we broke now above this resistance level and we have clear skies ahead. So I'm going to add this one to our long break watch list. And let's do one more setup here. Let's do Netflix. All right, so also Netflix has been bullish for 422 days, and I guess we just had earnings coming up. Yes, we did. Look at, we can see it here on October 17th at night. I guess we had earnings. Yeah, I guess that happened Thursday night, and then a huge bullish candle from those earnings. And wow, nice one. I would not enter long here because we had a big gap, and the reason why not is gaps tend to be filled over time, or at least attempted to be filled. And of course, if we see such an attempt, we're going to see some more downside action here for Netflix. But if you come down here to this level, I may contemplate once again to re-enter long for Netflix, but not at this point. And I think we had a question about the gap column here. So if I bring up the gap column here, we can see that Netflix did have a gap of 7.27% after these earnings, this big jump up. And this gap, we jumped up here, was not filled at all on Friday. The price just kept moving up. And if you go to our gap fill column down here, we can see that, yeah, it was only filled by 2.82%. And the way to read this is, and we have some boot camps about this as well, is that, hey, this gap fill is still yet to come. This is exactly what I was trying to say, that we may see more downside action here in an attempt to fill this gap here all the way down here, perhaps at least to this resistance zone. That's why I would stay away from Netflix. To enter long right now, I would wait patiently and wait for this attempted gap fill. If it happens, this could be an interesting opportunity to re-enter long when price approaches this resistance zone. All right, perfect. Okay, so these are our long break setups. Now let's move on to my favorite category, the long break retrace setups. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna clear up all my filters and I'm gonna go to my liquidity IQ column here. And now I'm gonna pick a long break retrace. And the first thing you're gonna notice, once I select this column, we will filter down a lot of stocks. So now only 10 stocks are selected. So only 10 stocks as of today are in this kind of setup. It is super, super selective. Okay. All right. So that's done. And the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to only look for bullish stocks, which happen to be all of them. And we're going to filter once again, or sort by the ones which have been bullish for the longest. And we can see here, for example, that AXR, AMREP Corp, once again, a stock of very low volume, is currently in such a setup. If you look here, we had the breakout here above resistance and it then retraced back to this level. And now the overarching trend may continue. But you know what? This is to me too little volume. Let's move on to the next one. Trade desk. All right. More interesting one. This stock has been bullish for 336 days. We recently broke above resistance. A bit of contemplation here. Price went all the way down to this level, and then, on Friday it went down, but then moved up again. So this to me is an interesting candidate because I believe, at least it feels to me, that hey, this bullish move is about to continue when the market opens next week. So I'm going to put this one into my long break retrace watch list. Let's just look at one more. Spotify. Everybody knows Spotify. Probably everybody's using Spotify. It's a hugely successful business. And once again, here we did break nicely. You can see it here. Very, very bullish. We did break above resistance. We made all-time highs, and then we went back to the broken level. It's the classic fake out pattern. I think a lot of people book profits when we make all-time highs. A downside move, but a great opportunity to re-enter long into the market. You can see a bit of this bullish move already happening, but I believe this could be another interesting long idea. And your stop loss would just be below this broken resistance level, now acting as support, perhaps around 351, 352. So I'm going to add this one as well into the mix. And there's one more I wanted to show because we mostly focus on stocks. But you know what? You can find the exact same setups also for other asset classes. Let's look at this one down here. Singaporean dollar. We had one guy from Singapore here, and US dollar, the currency pair. All right, let's see what's going on here. And this, let me just see what we have here. Yeah, I mean, FX pairs are, at least in my opinion, very hard to trade. But look at this beautiful technical setup here. So we went up here. We went to this resistance level and almost to the T. Price bounced off this resistance, went down to support here, bounced off again, and now we finally broke this resistance level. I'm trading above it, but we recently retraced all the way down back to this broken resistance level. To me, this is a very clean zone break retrace setup. It's a bit rounded here now, all the way down here, and we're right in that broken resistance zone now acting as support. So in this case, we could place our stop just below here. This is not very far away. This is maybe, I don't know, not even 100 pips away at this level here, in the expectation that, hey, this was a retracement back to broken resistance, now acting as support. Price will then continue to the upside move. Just because I want to change it up, I'm going to add this one as well to my list of long break retrace ideas. Because it's a very clean setup. The zone break here, retracement, now trading at this broken zone. We may see another move to the upside. All right, perfect. So let me see if there are any questions. Nicholas, do we have any questions at this point?
Daniel, we just had one with respect to the dashboard from Dennis asking what the R score is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this comes up all the time. And, if you join for the free trial, you will receive a 2-hour boot camp explaining every single column in this dashboard. But, just to give you an intuition of what this R score represents, it is a score about your short-term trend. So Mirage is really what is the long-term trend doing. So you can see Singapore dollar in the long run, at least, has been bullish. You can see it here. But in the short term, it's also still bullish, even though it lost a bit of momentum. So it went up a lot, but then retraced. You can see it here also a bit of red. And the R score really is an indication how bullish a stock recently has been. So for example, this one here, Trade Desk has an R score of 400, which is higher than the one here, 200. You can see that this retracement down here would not be so steep in Trade Desk. If I go to this one here, look at this one here. Even short term, this is bullish. Yeah, it's very bullish short term as well. We didn't have this big of a retracement. And let me just go back all the way to the other one. So the R score, just quickly take the gap fill out. So the R score it goes also to the negative. So for example, if you have a stock here with an R score of, something really crazy, less than 400, like very, very bearish. Let me just pick a nice one, not a penny stock. So maybe Moderna. Oh my goodness, what happened to Moderna? It's one of the superstars during COVID. I guess it was here, and boy, oh my goodness, what a move to the downside ever since COVID. This is not even COVID. Oh wow, this is just recently. Where did they come from? Oh, COVID was down here. Yeah, very, very bearish. Just quickly have a look at Moderna. Wow, this must have been the high of the COVID at almost 500. Emmy Rush showed bearish momentum here at around 180. Would have been still a great opportunity to re-enter into this one because now we're trading at 54. Wow. Yeah, very bullish, very bearish. We just broke below support here. We are on a short break setup, meaning that we broke support. We're trading below support, and we are very bearish from the R score. So once again, I don't really like to trade stocks to the short side, but if you were to trade this one, this could have been a nice one to the short side. Super, super bearish overall. And yeah, to me, a good candidate perhaps to go short on a zone break below support. This is what you can see here with the R score. What is the recent trend doing? So the lower it is, the more it is in the negative, the more bearish it is, and the higher if you go to the opposite here, greater than 400, you can see things that are very, very bullish in recent history. Look at this move here, super, super bullish. Now approaching the support level. So
Thank you,
this is
Daniel.
basically an indication of your recent short-term trend.
We have a couple quick to answer questions here. So one from Kenneth. He wants to know, can you scan for stocks that specifically have options or that have a minimum price?
Yeah, that's possible. So let me quickly go here. So minimum price is easy. You can use the price filter here. You can say, okay, I only want to see stocks with which are greater than $10 or greater than $25. Or if you trade options, maybe you want to see stocks which are less than 100 because they're more affordable. So this is possible. And actually, as of next week, there's a new feature coming which allows you to specify a price window. So for example, it's not deployed right here, but next week we're going to release this feature. You can scan for stocks which are above 25 and perhaps less than 50. So you have a price window there. So you can definitely filter for those things. And for optionable stocks, you can also enable the column here called optionable. And then you can filter for only stocks which have an options chain and which have a reasonably liquid options chain. So, having an options chain is one thing, but if it's completely illiquid, you still can't trade these options properly. So this optional column will also check for liquidity of the options chain.
Thanks,
So
Daniel.
yes.
And Lori wanted to know, can we also scan for futures on this dashboard? Yes, we can. They're included.
Yeah, a handful. So the main majority of futures, minority of symbols are in the stocks and ETFs area. But as you can see here, if you select the futures space, we do have around 40 futures that you can scan for. Of course, we have the ES in here, the Dow Jones futures here, for example, the ES as well, if I can find it somewhere. Just see. ES. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so of course the E-minis we have and so forth. So yeah, there's futures are here, but this is end of day basis. So most of the futures traders are on the day trading space. But you can still, make some directional trades as well, especially since you can now trade micro futures. So even from an investment point of view, micro futures, of course, are much more affordable.
Thanks, Daniel. So speaking of end of day data, well, first of all, we have a question from Elon. He wants to know, you mentioned a while ago we might be able to eventually scan for the red blocks level, like if there's a second degree pullback or a third
Yeah.
degree pullback.
Yes, exactly. That's coming up. So yeah, this is a feature which you can probably expect in 2 weeks from now. And what he means is, for example, let's say we have this really bullish trend move here, and we're trying to look for a pullback. So pullbacks are like these great re-enter opportunities in a trending move. So here we have this big pullback. So we're going to be able to scan for these, and the way these pullbacks manifest themselves also are on this indicator down here, which is called trend radar. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. So you can see here, it's overall green, but every once in a while we have this red patch. So this red patch here, for example, goes to 4 levels down. So what we want to add is a scan, and it's coming in 2 weeks. It's not a complicated scan to build in, to scan for these patches. So this is a level 4 pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down red. Sometimes the pullbacks are not as deep. This would be a level 3 pullback here. But all of these are great, oops, great opportunities to re-enter long into the trending move. And by the way, did you see what I just did? I don't know what I did. I messed something up on my chart. I think I did something like this. And if this ever happens to you, all you need to do is click this reset button down here to get your chart back to its default settings. So a little trick about the dashboard.
Thanks, Daniel. And you were talking about futures and end of day data.
Yeah,
Yeshi wants to know, do you plan to have a real-time version of the dashboard soon?
that's more complicated because believe it or not, um, when the market closes and all the market close prices are in, it takes our cloud server, and we're having a very powerful cloud server with the Microsoft Azure cloud, which is fully scalable. It takes that cloud server about 3 hours or 2.5 hours to do all these calculations of these long bound setups and so forth. So this is of course obviously way too slow for any form of day trading. And the reason is because, first of all, these setups are quite complicated to calculate. And secondly, we have more than 5,000 symbols. So we'll seeing what can be done, but as you may imagine, there are some limitations as how fast these calculations can be done when it comes to day trading. All right. Any other questions?
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel. And no, I think we're all caught up. Let me just double check. Yep, I think we've gotten to everything so far.
Perfect. All right. So let me quickly go back to my slides. All right. So we did the scanning, and please, guys, if you have any symbol requests, let me know. And one reminder is that you will receive the recording of this session. I may edit it a little bit because all these power outages, you don't have to rewatch these. I may edit it a little bit, and then I post this recording on our YouTube page. You can find our YouTube page by going to trading indicators, but simply by Nicholas, do we have, can you post the YouTube page into the chat? That's probably easiest.
Our
So
YouTube
please,
channel, Daniel?
our YouTube channel, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, please paste it in there. So you can find this recording on our YouTube channel. And you will also receive an email reminding you that the recording is available. Sorry. And this email will also include a link where you can download our latest ebook called The Power of Three, discussing exactly these 3 setups that we scanned for today. So the bounce setup, the zone break setup, and the zone break retrace setup. So you can learn about the theory behind these, why these are good setups to trade, why these are high reward, low risk setups, and so forth. So this is in this ebook, very detailed. And if you want to give this dashboard a try, you can do so by simply going to tradingindicators.com/view. You will get a 1-week free trial. Doesn't matter whether you choose the monthly or the yearly option, which you can cancel at any time. And if you cancel within the first week, there will be no charge whatsoever. So tradingindicators.com/view. And before I let you guys go, and perhaps before we can look at some last minute questions, a reminder that I will be back in just 1 hour from now for our options webinar. So if you, and actually let me put this link myself into the chat because I think, Nicholas, you don't have it. If you want to join this webinar too, it's completely free. Simply go to this Zoom link, which I will now put into the chat. If I can find the chat window, there we go. So here, options webinar at 12 p.m. ET. And here's the link. Perfect. Yeah, together with the option professor, Jim Kenny. And I don't know if you know Jim, he is so knowledgeable when it comes to the markets. And a big part of this options webinar will be his market review. I'm going to ask him some very loaded questions. What he thinks about the current bullish move in the index futures, or whether he thinks it's going to last, and what his take is on all these things. So please If you can join us in just about 1 hour from now for this free options webinar together with the option professor, Jim Kenny. All right. So let me see. Are there any questions, Nicholas, that we could address? Let me quickly also maybe have a
Yeah,
look
Daniel.
myself.
So, well, first of all, we have a couple symbol requests.
Yeah.
We have a question here from an anonymous attendee. Are you going to explain what comes next once we have our scan list? And what they mean is, how do you recommend to proceed once you have the
Yeah.
setup yes you're scanning for?
Yeah. And actually, in our in last week's recording, we covered this topic a little bit. So I like to look at this as a three-step process. So step number one is you find the setup that you're interested in. Maybe your long bound setup. Let me just go back here to no filter on the asset classes. Maybe your long bound setup. Step number two, you look for extra confirmation. So you want, if this is a long setup, I want my stock to be bullish. So I'm going putting up my enemy rush filter here. Maybe even sort by the ones which have been bullish for the longest time. That's step number two. And then step number three, due diligence. You want to make sure that this symbol actually is something that you want to trade, meaning that it is liquid enough. So maybe you don't want to trade anything that has volume below 20,000 shares traded. Maybe that's too illiquid. It's too erratic. Maybe you don't want to trade foreign stocks like this one here. Maybe you want to trade stocks which have only a market cap of a certain value. And all these things you would do in your due diligence phase. Another one that's important is, are the earnings coming up? So you have this earnings date here. So for example, this stock here has earnings coming up in about 2 weeks on October 30th. So if this is a swing trade, maybe I think it is still enough time because we still have more than a week. We can probably see a nice move here, but maybe you want to exit this trade before the earnings come up because this may introduce extra risk to this trade. All these things. So this would be really step three for me. You want to make sure that this stock that you want to trade checks all the boxes. So you can put a volume filter on it. You can skip all the ones which have earnings coming up very soon. You want to what I also want to do is, if it's a stock, I only want to trade it to the long side, especially if it's yeah, because stocks tend to go up over time. That's just the way it is for most stocks. All right. I hope this answers this as well. Do we have some symbol requests, Nicholas?
Yeah. So we have a symbol request. 1 second, let me scroll up. We got a lot of new questions. Our first one was for TSM.
Okay, perfect. So TSM. All right. Taiwan Semiconductor. Ooh, nice one. Okay, so and let me just quickly. By the way, guys, there's another trick for the dashboard. So now we have TSM loaded, and you can see here that where is my MA rush column or where is my R score column? They're not there anymore. Well, they're still there, but they're hidden right now. And if you just click on this little thing here, you can see them listed down here. So that's one way to show them. The other way to do it is to simply make the scan a bit bigger. So you can actually drag this over here to make the scan column a bit bigger, so you can see these R score columns as well. Or, of course, you can also just disable some of the columns that are not so important, maybe market cap and optional. We know the stock is optional. And then, we have more space on the scanner. Perfect. Okay. So Taiwan Semiconductor. Yes. Nice one. Look at what happened here. And one thing I also like to do is just to keep my chart a bit cleaner. So I'm going to remove these zone break labels and these labels. Also my zone break symbols. All right. So, wow. Earnings. Yeah, earnings came up. Most of the gaps are caused by earnings. You see it here. So I saw this gap up. Quickly looked at my earnings stuff here. You can see this in gray. It means earnings have passed already. Earnings on Thursday. We jumped up. We broke above resistance because of that jump. Then retraced a little bit. And yeah, it's an interesting one. Just because we had this gap here and gaps tend to get filled, I would not be surprised if price at least attempts to fill this gap a bit further and price goes down maybe to 195. If it does, it could be a great opportunity to re-enter long into this trade. Of course, obviously, it's very, very bullish. So even right now, I think it's a good trade to take. Even if you see a deeper retracement, this is a bullish stock, and I believe it will trade higher in the near future. But to me, I'll wait until price goes down here, maybe to 195. Enter long, put your stop loss just here at 188, 187. This could be a nice long opportunity.
The next symbol
Yep.
request we have, Daniel, is Mara, M-A-R-A.
Yes. Mera. There we go. All right. So Mera, I'm just been looking at the scanner here is we are bearish fairly recently, 27 trading days ago. The short-term trend is also a bit bearish since then. And we're currently trading in what we call a magnet zone. So when you see magnet zone here, we just entered it. So one bar ago is if you are, let me just maybe perhaps draw a little rectangle here. Where are my rectangles? It's too many drawing tools. There we go. Nope. Whatever. I can't find it, but I'm sure that it's in here somewhere. If we are somewhat in the middle between support and resistance, so support is here, resistance is here, and price is somewhat in this middle zone. I just entered this middle zone. That's why I can see this number one here. And yeah, I mean, let's just go see what's going on here. Ah, I'm not sure about this one. I would stay on the sidelines. We are just recently went bearish here. Price bounced off very nicely off the support zone. I would not be surprised if we see another leg down to this level. And maybe we see another bounce to the upside, but ultimately this to me at least feels a bit bearish. And I would not be surprised if eventually the support zone is broken. So to me, yeah, a bearish outlook on Mara.
And I might be wrong, but I think this stock has some correlation to Bitcoin. We have a question from Sylvia
Yeah.
saying, what is the cost of your indicators? Do you have any Black Friday specials coming up? So I think we do, Daniel, right? Do you know when that is?
Yeah, we do. Is when is Black Friday? In about a month from now, maybe a bit more. And yeah, for sure we do. We don't know yet what will be included, but please send me an email and I can walk you through some as to give you an estimate which products are likely to be included in Black Friday. Yeah.
Thank you. And from Yeshi wants to see Goldman Sachs GS.
Yeah.
And their question about it specifically was it has broken out, but it doesn't show a zone break.
Yeah, that's probably because there's another resistance level. Oh, it actually does show a zone break. No, it's broken out. It's flagged as a zone break setup. And the reason why you don't see it is probably because you disabled the label. So what you can do is, yeah, definitely a breakout here. And if you go to the settings, oops, not these ones, the settings of the indicator, this one, make sure that the zone break label is enabled. And you also may want to enable your zone break symbol. So if you do this, you will then see here the zone break here and the label. It's just probably just disabled. You can also simply click the reset button here. This should show these labels once again.
Perfect. Okay, a symbol request, Palantir, PLTR. I think that's
Yeah.
Palantir.
Yep. Oh yeah, very. Just by looking at this one here. Oh, this is a nice one. Very bullish, but for quite a while in a short bounce scenario. So bullish for. Oops. Why are we in a short bounce? Just give me 1 second. That's a bit strange. I'm gonna double check this one. Yeah, so obviously very bullish. We have a bit of a pullback here. I believe this is seen now as a support zone forming, even though we don't have the label here yet. This is why it's flagged as a short bounce. But I will double check on this one. But yeah, very bullish. A bit of a pullback here. If you see a bit of a bigger pullback, maybe a pullback down to this MA rush line, the first one here, similar to what we had here. This could be a nice opportunity to re-enter long into the market. And in the future version of the dashboard, we plan to also add scans for pullbacks to these dynamic levels here of MA rush. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Sorry, Daniel, I was muted. We have a question here from Lobster Thermidor. They want to know what is the cost of the indicator, or which indicator are you marketing here? The website shows so many.
Yeah, so this is actually the dashboard. There's no other cost involved than just the cost for the dashboard, which is either well, this is free trial, but we have at the $97 a month special right now, or $997 a year
And I
for
should
this
mention,
dashboard.
Daniel, again, if they haven't seen that there is a link to a free 7-day trial in the chat. I'll post it again right now.
Yeah, maybe I can just simply go real quick to the website, what you see. So if you go to tradingindicators.com/view, this one here, it will open up a page where you can get more information about the dashboard if this loads. There we go. All right. So here's even with our last week's recording, we have it here. And what you get with all these with the box with the dashboard. And if you click on yes, I want the special, you can see that first of all, there's no charge today. So you get it for free for 7 days. And if you want to keep it for longer, you have the choice between monthly contract or monthly option or yearly option. I should say there's no contract, so you can cancel this at any time. You'll not be locked in.
Thanks,
And you
Daniel.
can,
We have a question
yeah,
from Aubrey. I missed it before. The symbol
Cypress.
ALLE.
Yes, Aubrey. And Aubrey, you're right. The electricity is more stable in Cyprus. Even though it seems to have stabilized now. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe just one of these fluke coincidences. Okay, so back to my dashboard. There we go. And Nicholas, remind me of that symbol one more time. AA. Nicholas, what was the symbol again?
It was ALLE, Daniel.
AL. Okay, there we go. This one, a legion. All right, long break. All right. Okay, looks good. Bullish for 210 days. Nice. Let me just quickly have a look here. What happened? Yeah, this is a cool one. We just made all-time highs, I believe. Broke above resistance. And we are having earnings coming out next week. Yeah. Because of that, I probably would wait until these earnings are out. I may see some volatility here or a pullback to this level. So I would wait. Let's wait until earnings are out, see where price is at, and then if we are perhaps have a pullback down to this level here and into the long direction, this could be an interesting idea. Yep.
Perfect, Daniel. I'm just checking to see. Do you have time for another symbol request?
Sure, let's do one more. Yep.
Okay, just scroll up here. Okay, and before Kevin had mentioned Tesla, we had ISPY from Bill.
All right, Krispy Kreme. Wow. No, that's not the one, right? That's probably not good.
ISPY. Maybe we don't have that symbol.
Maybe you don't. Oh, that brings up another good part. We are constantly adding new symbols to it. And if you are a subscriber or maybe even on your trial, let me know if a symbol is missing and we can add this on fairly short notice. So yeah, that one is not there, but this is something that we constantly adjust and add on to. And I heard Tesla, Nicholas?
Yeah, but I'm reviewing actually was a comment more than a symbol request, but it does have earnings in 4 days apparently. So maybe we'll take a look.
That's a cool one. I like it for various reasons, but not necessarily for a directional play because the Tesla we can see it's really almost in the middle between support and resistance. It's in a magnet zone, as we call it. Earnings are coming up. We might be a bit too close to earnings. Prices of the options may be already too expensive. But this could be an interesting candidate for a strangle options trade. So strangles are non-directional, and we will profit if price moves significantly in either direction. And I would not be surprised if, as a result of the earnings coming up, either we're going to gap up towards this resistance zone up here around maybe I don't know, 260 or a bit higher even, or all the way down here to like 180, 186. So this could be a big move. We're going to just see how expensive the options for Tesla are right now. Of course, this being a stock which is very expensive to begin with. So yeah, something perhaps to consider if you have the budget to buy a strangle options trade. These are you have to buy two options contracts, one call and one put, somewhat fairly near price, or maybe a bit out of the money each, of course. And yeah, if we see a big substantial move, this could be an interesting idea if option price is still affordable. By the way, talking about options, that's actually a great segue. We do have the option professor coming up in 45 minutes from now, even a bit less. And yeah, if you haven't registered yet, the link is in the chat, and we can continue the discussion on Tesla, for example, together with the options professor, who is an industry-wide recognized expert when it comes to options trading. All right, guys. With that, I say thank you to all of you. I apologize once again for our technical hiccups in the beginning of this webinar. I'll try to edit all these things out, and I hope you liked it. And in that case, I'll see you hopefully next week or at the latest in 2 weeks from now, when it is time again for another live scanning session using our Liquidity View dashboard. Thanks, Niklas, for helping out and for covering my blackout periods. And yeah, hopefully see you guys soon at the options webinar. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.